Hey there guys, thanks for joining us for another battle report here with the Battle Knights guys. With me, I have Molo. Say hello, Molo. And we're doing Kings of War. Right, so this is Kings of War from Mantic Games. I have my rulebook here in it, which I'll show you a copy of. This is kind of like an intro game for me more than Molo. Molo's been playing the first edition. There's the copy of the game. It's the second edition rulebook from Mantic Games. I've played one game of this before, and Molo's been playing it for a little while, so we're going to go through a game so I can get more of the rules down. So we thought I'd film it and show you guys how my studying of the Kings of War rules are going. So we'll go through my list. We're just playing the basic scenario, which is kill, where you need more victory points. So starting on the right flank here, I've got a unit of knights, just a regiment of berserkers, which are the old, as you can see, this is my old Warhammer army. Which I'm using the flagellants I used in that. I've got a general on horse. I've got a spear phalanx, a horde of them. Then I've got a troop of handgunners, or as they're called, arquebusiers. A cannon, another troop of arquebusiers here in the fields of our little farmstead. The undead are causing some trouble on the way to the Empire. Or wait, not Empire. I don't know what they're called in this world.
Kingdoms of Men.
That's right, yeah. Then we've got a wizard down here. I've exchanged his fireball with lightning bolt, and he's got heal 2. And then I've got some mounted archers. I've got a regiment of pole arms. Way down here on the flank, I have a unit or regiment of knights. So this is the 1500 points of Kingdoms of Men. Now I'm going to hand you over to Molo's expertly painted undead army, and he can explain what he has.
Okay, so there is my balefire catapult. There are my undead spearmen, painted a lovely ghostly grey. And there are some other undead spearmen. Apparently I'm not speaking loud enough. Okay, we have some revenants, which are in fact not revenants, but a hodgepodge of stuff that I bought as I forgot my revenants. Behind them stands my necromancer and another set of revenants, which aren't revenants. And in front of them, a lich lord that looks an awful lot like a Games Workshop wraith. Another balefire, a horde of zombies, the linchpin of my army, I'm sure. Another balefire, and some wraiths, which are actually the correct Mantic models, although some of the other ones are as well. There we are. Right. Oh.
Okay, so this is the end of Undead Turn 1. And the guys have moved up. These wraiths have shot up here, 10 inches. These have all stood still, back, waiting. All the skeleton spearmen moved up and then got surged 5 inches each by the two various undead characters. So they are moved up a little distance. You can see how far they are from the lines. And those two guys shambled up a bit more as well. In the shooting phase, which was super successful. Well done, Molo.
Surge was part of the shooting phase.
Yes. That balefire fired over at this infantry unit and missed. That balefire fired over at this infantry unit and missed. And last but not least, that balefire fired over at the cavalry and missed. Yay. Turn 1 done. Let's go on to turn 1 for the Kingdom of Men. Okay, so this is the Kingdoms of Men turn 1. A little interesting. I was a little cautious on the side here. So my knights, my flanking knights, have not moved because I'm worried about these wraiths. They can just, they're really tough, and I'm a little concerned about them. So I've cautiously just stumbled forward a little bit. But on this side, I moved on the double up here. My my pistoliers shuffled up to here. Wizard came out a bit. So I had a bit of a firing line going here onto that unit, which we'll come back to in a minute. My phalanx have moved up, berserkers into their flank. And then my knights have shot up here with the general in tow. So that's the state of the movement. In the shooting phase, the wizard casts lightning bolt. He has the item that gives him +2 to lightning bolt. So he has a lightning bolt 5. Put 3 wounds on them. As you can see, all the little wound tokens behind them. The pistoliers didn't get any wounds through, but the 20 handgunners or arquebusiers put another 7 wounds on them. So that was 10 wounds on there. They have a morale or a nerve test of 16, and I rolled a 5. So they survived. Because if you don't familiar, undead don't have a wavering. You either kill them or you don't, because they are undead. And as it happened, I needed 16, I rolled 15, so they are fine and fighting at full strength. So this is the board at the end of round 1. Let's go to Undead, turn 2. Confident, Molo?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so this is Undead, turn 2. And what happened? The wraiths moved around here through the buildings. The zombies have moved up. The skeletons, this is where all the action happened. The front unit advanced forward. The revenants just behind them came up a little further. The necromancer and what's the lich dude called?
Lich King, I think he's called. Lich King.
They've moved up here, and the revenants over here charged my general. And these guys moved up onto the flank here where the rocks are. Then the first wizard cast surge on them, got them into the flank. And then he used an item which allows him to do another ranged attack this turn, but a different one. So he cast heal on them, which healed them 2 points. And he cast heal on them, which healed them 2 points. So they're down to 6 gems.
Indeed, they're fully survivable now.
Then the shooting phase came. That balefire over there fired at the infantry regiment and missed. That balefire over there fired this infantry regiment and missed. But that balefire over there fired all the way down here and bam onto the arquebusiers that used to be over there. He got 3 wounds through and then rolled double 6 for the morale test, which was way over their nerve, and they fled the board. Straight through the cornfield, right out the back. Chickens. Right, so then the combat phase. This was where the funny bits came. These guys in the flank with 30 attacks got 1 wound through on the knights, which is pathetic. But these revenants fared much better, getting 6 wounds through on my general and wavering him, rolling a 13 for his nerve test. So overall, how do you feel that went?
That seemed to go quite successfully.
You happy with the skeletons in the flank?
I'm not liking where they are at all, but I'm sure they won't be there next turn, so that'll solve the problem.
Well, this is how the Empire look. State, see the lines across there. So I suspect I might get the berserkers in the flank of them. Maybe countercharge with the knights to bust them out. Well, let's see. Let's do this. Right, turn 2 for the Kingdoms of Men. Okay, so this was the end of Kingdoms of Men turn 2, and quite a successful turn, I might add. Scanning the eye view of the units. Right, so what happened? Movement-wise, I finally got to move my cowardly knights up the flank there. That was all part of my plan. That's all part of my plan. These guys about faced to take on the race. The Pistoliers moved up very bravely into the lines of the undead, and my spear horde charged the spear cavalry and the skeleton spearmen that were there. We'll get back to that in a minute. My berserkers charged the spear infantry that were there, and my knights charged the revenants on the hill. So as you can see, by a few missing units, that went pretty well. But we'll first start with the shooting phase. My wizard tried to cast a lightning bolt on them and found out they had fog, which made them stealthy, which means I missed most of my shots. The cannon fired onto the horde, which missed. The handgunners fired onto the Maud, which caused... The Maud, yes, which caused 1 wound. So there we go. Shooting phase done. Oh, and of course, they all missed again. This is just like Pistoliers in Warhammer. Never hit the barn door. So, that was the end of the shooting phase. Combat phase, much more successful. I put a ton of wounds. I think something like 11 or 12 wounds. This unit has the +1 to hit item, the 45-point item. I can't remember what it's called now.
I can tell you one of my regiments has got it.
Oh.
It is the Brew of Sharpness.
That's right. So they got +1 to hit. They massacred that infantry. The oh my god, what is wrong with me? The infantry.
Many things.
Skeletons. And then the berserkers, same situation, into the flank of the spear infantry there and massacred them. This, on the other hand, was okay. The knights charged up to the front of the revenants on the hill there. I got 8 wounds through, but not enough to do any damage, serious damage to them, so it bounced off. But overall, I'm pretty happy with that. Basically, I'm clearing up the front lines of the undead infantry. Both the skeleton units are dead. That revenant unit has been wounded, but I suspect he'll try and heal that in a minute. And I've got another unit coming around the flank there. I'm still a little concerned about all the cannons, but that's the way cannons work in this game, you need a 5+ to hit with them, so the chances are low. How are you feeling at this point, Marlo?
Feeling good. I'm gonna win.
Good.
Awesome.
I like the positivity. Let's go to Undead turn 3. So, this is the end of Undead turn 3. And a little bit of a successful turn as well. Molo decided to charge in with the wraiths here. The zombies charged into the scouts. And the revenants over here charged into the knights. And the shooting phase... Well, you know, I was just saying a minute ago that he's got 3 catapults. But I'm not too worried because they hit on a 5+. Well, apparently they can hit. As both of those you're looking at right now... both struck down onto my spearmen, causing 10 wounds between the two of them. Now, 10 might not seem a lot, but man, that's from going from I don't think they're going to do much to they just put 10 wounds on me. It's really scary. Shooting wise, else that guy over there put Bane Chant onto this unit, and that guy healed 3 or 4 wounds from them. I can't remember.
4 wounds. And
then of course they healed some more in the combat phase. Because the combat phase, they put 3 more wounds on me, which healed another 3 wounds from them. So they only got 2 wounds left, which is quite annoying. That one over there absolutely massacred the scouts. Put them on something like 12 or 13 wounds on them. Wiped them out and healed the only wound that they had back as well. It's interesting, obviously, this is from coming from a Warhammer perspective. Obviously, when you get in situations like with scouts up like that, you would normally flee from these sort of things. But in Kings of War, you obviously don't have charge reactions. So that those scouts were literally just butchered to a man. This one, on the other hand, I was a little more surprised in. Surprised first by the fact that these guys, when they charged in, they only had 10 attacks. They have the item as well that gives them +1 to hit. They caused 6 wounds on my regiment, which is a fair amount of wounds, no doubt, because they have crushing strength 2 as well. But I thought, or 1. But I was pretty happy with that, 6 wounds. But then rolled massively high, like 11 on the morale test, and they broke and ran as well. So, I lost that regiment, I lost the scouts, and he put 10 wounds on the infantry right there. So, give you a little bird's eye view. Let's go on to my turn. Are you feeling better about that turn?
Oh, that went swimmingly.
Okay, so this is Kingdoms of Men turn 3. After the movement phase, a quick discussion, I run around there with my knights, finally getting into a position where they can be useful. This is where I had the most dilemma in the movement phase. These guys have a massive long charge, so I couldn't move forward with these guys. I had to wheel them around, and then I moved the wizard into the gap here, and then I've moved the berserkers up this way. So on my turn, I might take a few charges from those revenants and the wraiths over there, but at least it's in my front. So I formed kind of a line with infantry backed up onto the corner here with my wizard and that. Over here, the knights charged in onto the revenants, again, with the general support this time. And shooting fires, my cannon, of course, missed. The handgunners put 4 wounds onto the zombies, because they can't move and shoot, so I just fired directly straight ahead. The wizard cast lightning bolt onto the wraiths. Didn't do any damage. And so went down to the combat phase. This is where I'm most gutted. The knights and the general put another 11 wounds on the revenants, so that's 13 altogether with the 2 they had left over from last turn. I rolled double 6 for the morale. That's them toast. With that guy at the back there, gave them inspiring, so I had to re-roll and then rolled a 1 and a 2, which put them up to 16, and they need 17 to rout. Gutted. Oh my goodness, if I'd got through there, I could have got into the back of what could be the artillery or any of the wizards, or even got some flank charges down this way. With my other knights coming up that way, I thought I was in control, but that revenants have just put a massive spanner into my plans. And those wraiths, as it turns out, they weren't. I was probably overcautious with the knights on the first time, but now they are putting some real pressure on me. So this is going to be an interesting undead turn 4. A little more optimistic now, Marlo?
But of course.
So words of wisdom. Right, so this is undead turn 4, and as you can see, the line has held. They have charged and they have bounced, sort of. The undead, the wraiths charged the cannon, which was here in between the cornfields. The zombies moved up and then got surged into combat twice.
Yeah.
Because the 12 dice surge didn't get him enough in, so he had to use his other wizard, which we'll go back to in a second. The Revenants over there charged the Berserkers, and the Revenants over there charged the Knights. So big line of charges all the way across the board, and the catapults, because everything was in combat except those Knights over there, no one had beads of line of sight on them, so those guys might move 5 inches forward, those guys have about faced, and those guys have moved 5 inches off the hill. Wizards moved into their positions. First wizard cast 12 dice surge on them. Only got 2 inches, which was hilarious.
No, it wasn't.
Then the other guy cast 8 surges, 8 on them, and got 4 inches. So they got into combat. Combats as predictive. The Wraiths put 4 wounds on the cannon, and then Molo rolled 11 again on the bleeding morale test.
I only rolled 10.
So that destroyed the cannon. Over here, I only put 3 wounds with the zombies onto the spearmen and life leeched one of them. But of course, 13, I think you rolled something like 7, which is not enough.
No, I rolled 4.
Oh, 4, yeah, really bad. These guys don't have a wavering because they're berserkers, and they have a morale of 16, so you couldn't do anything to them. And over there, he didn't put, I think he put 2 wounds?
2 wounds, yeah, it's a very small.
Yeah, which was not enough to break them either. So that's the state of Undead turn 4. Nice and brutal. Now it goes to my turn. This is going to be bloody and interesting. What do you think?
Well, I'm very confident now that I've eliminated the cannon.
Yes, because my cannon out of this game and last game has not hit once. Okay, so let's go to my turn 4. So, Kingdoms of Men turn 4. How did this go? Movement wise, the Knights have just ignored that catapult, ran down here to come support their comrades, who they've deserted for most of the game. The handgunners have moved up to block the Wraiths. Wizard moved in over there, cast heal 2 on the Spearman regiment, and healed 1 wound from them. But in the combat phase, because everything else of here obviously charged straight ahead into the countercharge their opponents, the Spearman caused 15 wounds, I think, on the zombies. And I rolled 23 on the morale, which was enough to break them. And then I had to re-roll that to make it 22. So as you can see, the zombies are gone. The Berserkers only put 3 wounds on these guys, and I rolled... Did you make me... Yeah, I re-rolled this one as well, didn't I?
Yeah.
I broke them, and then because of the Inspiring Presence, I had to re-roll and then rolled 3. So that didn't work. That Inspiring Presence has actually been really brilliant for Molo. But this is where the craziness happened. I absolutely obliterated that Revenant unit. Something like 24 wounds on them.
There was some wounds on them.
Which obviously made them explode and run away. But they had the crystal... What is it called?
Crystal Pendant of Retribution,
Yeah.
I think.
It's the 50-point item where you have to roll 2d6 and take that many hits at piercing 3. So you see that stack of gems behind the Knights? I rolled 11 on the Knights, which caused 10 wounds to the 6 they had. So they are in serious strafe. And the general took 2 as well, because he was in combat with them as well. But they don't have to take a morale test for that. They just take the wounds. So both these units are basically dead. I mean, Molo's thinking of charging them with a Necromancer. All he has to do is do a wound, and they're dead. But that is the state of my turn 4. So I've managed to get rid of the zombies now. So he's got that Revenant unit in a little bit of trouble. But this Wraith unit can still be a pain. I've sacrificed my Arquebusiers to take the charge this turn. Hopefully that means I can take care of them next turn. And then I've got the Knights coming up here. But obviously they've still got 3 catapults ready, which I've basically just ignored now. So I don't know. It's still in the bag. My Spearman unit is a little bit damaged. Berserkers I'm not too worried about. Both those units are in serious trouble. What do you think's going to happen, man?
I think it's all going to end badly for you.
Okay, let's do Undead turn 5. Oh dear me. It's turn 5 for the Undead. And there's a gaping hole in my line. Right, what happened for the turn 6? Turn 5 rather for Undead. My clever plan of blocking the race wasn't so clever as they could fly and they are nimble. So
nimble was part of fly.
So they just flew over there, turned about face to look at the spearmen, and then got surged into the front of the spearmen. As you can tell, there's no longer any spearmen there. Obviously, those guys charged into the berserkers. The necromancer charged into the knights, but as you can see, they're still there. So, we're going to come to the shooting in a second. Obviously, in the combat phase, the wraiths caused, I think, six wounds on the spearman.
It was a good run.
Yeah, and then Molo rolled really high on the morale test. A little above average, not that high. I think it was a 9 or something like that, which made them break and run off. Equaled my 22. I had 22 and he equaled my 22. And then over there, he also equaled my 16 for my berserkers. I got my inspiring general nearby. He re-rolled and then rolled something like 19, which both those units broke and fled from the battlefield. Over there, he actually hit on a 6 with the necromancer, needing a 5+ to wound. He got a 4, which was not enough, and they are still there. But this is probably the biggest thing. That knight unit, who's just been gallivanting around town, moving around, preparing for some awesome charge on the 5th or 6th turn, moved into position. That catapult over there, fired, bam, hit, 5 wounds, and wavered them. So they can't do anything on their turn other than reform. And that, ladies and gentlemen, spells that. We're going to do my turn 5, but I suspect that is curtains for the Kingdoms of Men. At best, on my turn, I'm going to take out that necromancer. But we shall do that and then come back to you in a minute. Kingdoms of Men, turn 5. Just in case you don't believe me. Right, so what happened? Handgunners or arquebusiers just turned around in the cornfield, completely disorientated. These guys changed their facing slightly, removed their wavering. The wizard moved here onto the road, defying the odds, or like I said, was moving towards the knights, as my line seems to be forming that side of the table now. But over here, the knights charged the necromancer, and my general charged the balefire cannon, or what, catapult. The wizard cast 2 wounds with lightning bolt on the revenants, not enough to do anything to them morale-wise. That was the end of my shooting phase. Combat phase, I put 9 wounds on the necromancer with the knights. That was a final kick in his face for all the trouble he's caused me. And then the general, you get keep in mind you get treble your attacks. So he had 12 attacks on that catapult, and this right here is my rolls. It's ridiculous. I've never seen so many ones in my life. So I rolled all those ones plus the 2 wounds I got through on the catapult, and I needed 9 or more and rolled something like 4, a 1 and a 4, a 1 and a 3. So the catapult survives, and insult to injury, Molo is going to charge me with it.
And they're not awful in combat either.
So, and I just want you to point out, look at all the wounds.
Actually, they are awful in combat.
There are 8 wounds. All you need to do is probably cause 1 wound.
I would hope so.
And that's the end of my general.
Plus, I've got all these zombies here as well. So.
So this is Necromancer's turn 6. Take it away, Molo.
It's not the Necromancer's turn 6, he's dead.
Okay, so this is the Undead turn 6. And also, coincidentally, if you didn't think about it from the previous turn, the end of the game. As you can imagine, the race charged into the last handgunners, finished them off. Those guys over there advanced over the rocks to where the knight's flank was, and then got surged into the flank and took them out. They only needed to cause 1 wound. As it happened, they only caused 2 wounds, but that was well over. And we also just realized on that turn that the catapult, even though I suppose it could charge the general, it didn't actually have an attack, melee attack, so it wouldn't be able to do any damage. So he's just standing there. So I am left with the general in the mix over there, and this cavalry unit, which has let me down severely. Molo has got still these untouched wraiths over here, that unit of revenants over there, and then the Leech Lord and the 3 balefire cannons all still operational. So that is a massive victory to Molo. Congratulations, Molo. You said it all along from the beginning you were going to win this.
And of course I did, because it was all that could happen.
Yeah, it was. I only got like 300 points left on the board. So he's got like 1,200 points. I think I killed about 700 points. So we worked out roughly. So Molo's won by a large margin. Congratulations,
yeah,
man.
Landslide.
Well done. So what did you think of the game?
Well, I like Kings of War. It's weird that you're asking me that now, after you've not played it all the time that we were playing it. So yeah, Kings of War, good game, and I won.
Yeah, it's not often that you do win.
Well, obviously that can't be the case, as it was displayed here.
No, I didn't mind the game. I thought it was pretty good. Like I said before, I haven't played Kings of War often. I've played one game before this. I've been reading through the book, which is the nice new second edition hardcover book. And obviously I play a lot of different games, but I am still learning some of the nuances about Kings of War. Like, for example, I made quite a few tactical errors here. That knight unit has a special artifact on to give them +1 to wound. So they were quite offensive on the wound, and I stuck them all the way on the flank. Because I was thinking, get around the board quickly, get into the behind the units, that with their +1 strength would be massive. But unfortunately, I dilly-daddled over there in the corner and not really pushed hard enough. I'm worried about those wraiths, which in hindsight are quite dangerous, but I don't think they would have massacred those.
Oh no, they would have been killed by the cavalry easily.
So I probably shouldn't have been so cautious in the beginning, and also I probably should have stuck them there and put the other knights on the flank. Also, I was a little taken by surprise at how brutal combats can actually be. I mean, I see a couple of battle reports on TV, on the computer, and I've obviously looked at the rules, and you kind of get the feeling that infantry units can last a bit longer, but no, they get pulverized pretty quickly. I mean, that big unit of 40 spearmen I had there, I was quite safe in my mind, thinking, they'll hold, they'll do the job, and instead they got smashed. In the last game I played as well, they got killed in one turn. So it's a lot more interesting to think. I mean, there's also, you got to think about the things like you can't react to charges and things. So that plays a big role. So your maneuverability is compromised, and you've got to think about that. Also, of course, the other thing that I got to remember as well, like when units are attacked, like for example on that hill there, I had that knight unit attack that revenant cavalry probably 3 or 4 times. But each time I failed to break them, they can then countercharge at full strength. There's no deterioration of units. It's either they are full strength or they are dead. And so that obviously paid massive, and of course that item. And I gotta say, man, your morale rolls are incredible. You never roll under 10.
You didn't have anybody with inspiring.
Yeah.
Have to have inspiring.
That's a good point as well. That inspiring, I think I love that as a thing about the characters in this game. Characters aren't super killy. They aren't, out there to destroy whole armies on their own. They just provide support. I mean, wizards, your wizards are actually a little bit better than mine, but like my wizard only has
wizards though.
Huh?
Only has wizards though. They're not.
Yeah.
Exactly hot.
No, exactly. But they provide the support that they need. Like my general, he can't go around massing things on his own, but he provides that inspiring presence rule, and you can provide support where needed. So I like that. I think that's pretty cool. My God, your catapults. As soon as I started slating them, on the last turn as well. I forgot to mention on the last turn, other than him destroying the knights over there and destroying the handgunners over there, he also hit with a freaking catapult on a 6+ on my wizard and pulverized him. There's a little smear of my lightning wizard over there. So there was a comprehensive defeat. I got to think a little bit more about what I'm going to do on my army creation and army movement. It's a lot different to Warhammer, it really is. I mean, it looks similar when you place everything on the table, but you really got to think differently about it. You got anything else to say?
Take war machines in 3s and take standard bearers.
Yeah, standard bearers, I think I'll definitely be taking one of those next turn. What about you and your army? I know you were telling me during the game about other units and things that are better, and because Milo's not the type of person to just make up an army to crush everyone. He likes to take things that he likes the look of and things like that as well. So.
Well, I've always liked the undead for the Mantic models for them are great, and sort of mixing in the Games Workshop plastic characters. But yeah, the undead were the first army I bought because they're the ones that come with the pack. They're fun enough to use. Very basic undead, move very slowly, but there's a massive variety you can get within each army, even though the rules are much more simplified. So it's good. I don't know what more to say from that.
Okay, well, hopefully we'll be back soon with another Kings of War game. I played my friend Swampy previously before this, and he was using orcs, and he actually had a similar reaction to me in terms of, well, we'll talk about it at another time. I think everything I've said so far is a positive thought on how the game is going. So we'll come back soon with another battle report. Thanks for playing, Marlo.
No problem.
Cool. See you guys next time.